Welcome back. We move on to conversation point number 2. While the central government and the state governments have emphasized on social distancing and have asked people to stay away from large gatherings, the Anti-Citizenship Act and the anti-NPR protesters are just not paying heed. Yesterday we spoke about what's happening in the Shaheen Bagh and what's still happening in Mumbai, where the protesters are saying we are maintaining 1 meter distance and we are going to continue our protest, completely refusing to call it off for now and go back home for their own lives, for the lives of their families and those around them. Now today in Chennai, we saw a massive protest, viewers. Hundreds of them gathered on the streets near the Madras High Court. Remember, the advisory against mass gatherings is actually across the country now, from the center to various state governments. We are told this gathering, this protest, didn't even have police permission. But they are refusing to toe the line, endangering their lives and thousands of other lives, keeping their own interests in mind right now above the interests of 1.25 billion people and their health and this country's health. Here is what the organizer of this protest told us.
Time the theaters, malls, schools எல்லாத்தையுமே மூடியாச்சு. ஒரு 15 நாள் மட்டும் கொஞ்சம் ஒரு கேப் கொடுங்க. இந்த கொரோனா வைரஸோட ஸ்ப்ரெட் நிப்பாட்டணும்னு சொல்லிருக்கும்போது 5000 பேர் இன்னும் கூடி இருக்கீங்க, இன்னும் இதுதான் செஞ்சிட்டு இருக்கீங்க. இது சரியானது தான் எங்களோட கேள்வி. தமிழக அரசு முன்னெச்சரிக்கையா செஞ்சாலும் ஒரு 15 நாள் தவிர்த்து பண்ணி 1000 போராட்ட நீங்க பண்ணிருக்கீங்க, நாங்களும் கவர் பண்ணிக்கிறோம். இந்த சமயத்துல இது ஒரு ரெஸ்பான்சிபிள் இஷ்யூ தான் கேக்குறாங்க.
தமிழக அரசு அவங்க சட்டசபையில இன்னைக்கு கூடி இருக்க கூடாது. அதே போல வணிக நிறுவனங்களை இழுத்து மூடி இருக்கணும். ரயில்வே துறையில யாரும் பயணம் செய்ய கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லி இருக்கணும். அதே போல போக்குவரத்து எதுவுமே நடக்க கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லி இருக்கணும். அரசு நிறுவனங்கள் அனைத்தும் மூடப்பட வேண்டும் என்று அவங்க சொல்லி இருக்கணும். அப்படியெல்லாம் சொல்லி இன்னைக்கு நடந்திருந்தால் கண்டிப்பாக நீங்கள் கேட்பது நியாயம் என்பதை நாங்கள் ஏற்றுக்கொள்கிறோம். தமிழக அரசே தெளிவாக சொல்லுகிறது, இது முன்னெச்சரிக்கை நடவடிக்கை தான். அந்த அடிப்படையில் தான் இன்றைய தினம் கூடுவதில் எந்த பிரச்சனை இல்லை என்று நாங்கள் நினைக்கிறோம். இனி அடுத்தடுத்து வரக்கூடிய நாட்களுக்கு கண்டிப்பாக எங்களுடைய முழு ஒத்துழைப்பு தமிழக அரசுக்கு இந்த விஷயத்தில் இருக்கும்.
இந்த போராட்டம் எவ்வளவு நேரம் போகுது, என்ன பிளான்ல இருக்கீங்க?
இந்த போராட்டத்தை பொறுத்தமட்டில் சிறை நிரப்பு போராட்டம் என்று நாங்கள் அறிவித்திருக்கிறோம். எங்களை கைது செய்து நீங்கள் உள்ள வைங்க, அது வரைக்கும் நாங்கள் 5 மணி ஆனாலும் நாங்கள் களைய மாட்டோம் என்று தான் நாங்கள் அறிவிப்பு செய்திருக்கிறோம். ஆனால் தமிழக அரசினுடைய சில நியாயமான அறிவிப்புகள், பேரிடர் என்று சொல்லக்கூடிய அவங்களுடைய அறிவிப்புகளை கவனித்து கைது செய்வதற்கான வாகனங்கள், மண்டபங்கள், போதிய விஷயங்கள் காவல்துறையில் இல்லாத ஒரு நிலையை கருத்தில் கொண்டு காவல்துறையில் நாங்கள் கோரிக்கை வைப்போம். அதை அவர்கள் செய்யவில்லை என்று சொன்னால் எங்களுடைய கண்டனங்களை பதிவு செய்துவிட்டு இந்த சூழல் அறிஞ்சு நியாயமான முறையிலே நாங்கள் கலைந்து சென்று விடுவோம்.
That's their defense, that if the assembly is functioning, if public transport is still on, if movement is allowed, then why should we stop? Is this fair? Should these protesters who are disregarding government advisories in the times of a pandemic, a global pandemic, should they be dealt with iron fist? Why are we allowing this to take place in our country right now? Let's say good evening to Mr. Muralidharan, who joins us this evening. Deshrata Nigam, RSS supporter. Annie Raja, CPI leader and the General Secretary of the National Federation of Indian Women. And Al Amin, spokesperson for TNTJ, part of this protest today. We were hearing his colleague only speak to us. But I actually first want to go across to Annie Raja and ask her if she thinks this is all right. Or if you believe that perhaps we need to deal with these protesters in a harsher way so that lives are not put at risk.
You see, these protesters are sitting there. They are actually protesting on a very valid issue. And I am not going into the details of those issues at the beginning. But I would like to ask, the government also should have been reached out to them. So far, there is nothing of that sort has happened. And even this, you have just listened to this Chennai people, they were talking. They are saying that They will not violate the government's order, but they are saying that they will consider all aspects of this coronavirus, and they will definitely will take appropriate steps to not to be part of the problem but to be part of the solution. That is what they are saying. And here in Shahid Bagh also, that is what they were, you also said they will keep the distance, social distancing will be maintained, and they will also take all sorts of precautions and everything. Now, we must, this is really true that there is a danger of more infection and every chance is there. But at the same time, why are we not asking our government to reach out to these protesting women and to alleviate their doubts and what they are raising, those questions, they should get an answer. But that is what they are asking, and why the government is not taking that initiative. That's what I would like to ask from the government.
Okay, but Annie Raja, and I'd also like you, I'm not going to go into the merits of what they're demanding and what their protest is for. But this is literally almost a state of health emergency. The government right now is focusing on ensuring that we don't enter stage 3 of an infection where it will become a massive challenge for our healthcare infrastructure. The economy is spiraling out of control. Shouldn't we as citizens also show a little bit more responsibility and say, we're not going to do this right now, let's wait a month and then we will get back to our protest. Nobody is saying that you don't protest, but Al-Amin, what is the urgency to do this right now? Did you take permission from the government and the police?
Yes, thanks for the opportunity. Yes, there is no urgency as such, but you all aware what is the importance of this particular protest. I don't want to get deeper into that, so let us talk only about the coronavirus and the things related to it. So we have taken necessary permission from the government and the police. This has been, we have given the necessary letters, and this was scheduled well in advance. Like if you see the state government's notice, they are actually saying whatever the marriages or mass gatherings which were planned already can be conducted. There should not be any new marriages or new gatherings. That's what is the state government's instruction. So if you consider that, this has been already planned. Based on the plan, it has been conducted. While we are conducting also, we have ensured that there should not be any issues. Considering that what we have done, so today, this particular protest has happened almost in 30 plus places. We have cancelled some 3 of our protests which are supposed to happen in our border districts like Kanyakumari and Coimbatore. So basically, we clearly understand this coronavirus, which is pandemic, which is getting transmitted mostly on a interstate and international travel, right? So considering that, we have cancelled all our protests which supposed to happen in the border districts like Kanyakumari and Coimbatore. We have cancelled it. So we are taking this as a responsible citizens, and also as our General Secretary told that when the situation is evolving and which is becoming worse, and we are getting a clear instruction from the government that any more protests should not be conducted, or something he said,
Amin,
like that currently the public transport is going on.
Mr. Amin, that's fair. The public transport is going on because there will be state of urgency where people will have to travel, and that's the government's decision to shut it down when it has to be shut down. But how can you tell me because this was pre-planned, we went ahead with it? Surely you know what's happened in our country in the last few days and how grave the situation in some of the other states has become. If you're cancelling other protests, what prompted you to have thousands of people at this place? And you haven't answered my question. Did you have police permission?
Yes, we have taken necessary permission from the government and we have conducted this, one. And second thing is, as you rightly said, the situation is differing from state to state, right? The mostly impacted states are Maharashtra and Kerala. The yardstick which needs to be followed in that particular state should be different, and which is getting followed in Tamil Nadu should be different. So we should not be blowing anything out of proportion, and we should not be creating fear among people. We should not be making them scared for simple things also, right? So I understand. So being a responsible media, you would ensure that what exactly happening in each state, like the yardstick for each state should be different. Tamil Nadu's yardstick is different from Kerala. Kerala because the impact is different.
Mr. Amin, now I'm not a medical expert and neither are you, but let me just give you some facts. The whole world thought this is China's problem and look where we are. Italy never imagined that this could come down to their home and enter each home because that's not where the infection is taking place. Within a few days, cases went from 400 to 4,000 to 10,000 in less than a week. That's what happens when a pandemic spreads across the world. So if you're feeling very happy and confident right now that it's just happening in Kerala and maybe the bordering districts of Tamil Nadu are at risk, no, Mr. Amin, I can give you one example of what happened in Bengal. Bengal, like Tamil Nadu, has not had a single case. One youngster who was abroad came back, escaped the authorities and the testing, disregarded the quarantine, and has now been tested positive, is in the hospital. Now, one after the other, everybody that he came in contact with will have to be quarantined. The infection will spread. I am not sitting here and fear-mongering. I am simply saying that when you are in uncharted territory, please understand just how tricky the situation is and understand you are putting lives of many people at risk by leading them to such an protest. Mr. Muralidharan, should the police and the government have allowed this?
No, let me just give us few words here.
Now, I'll come back to you.
Just allow me just give me a few
Alamin,
words.
I will come back to you. Let me bring in two of our other panelists and I will come back to you. Keep your points. Yes. Muralidharan.
Right. Okay.
Tanvi, even a few days ago, Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy literally lambasted Mr. Stalin, saying that, we have been asking you. Mr. Stalin wanted him to bring out a resolution saying that NPR will not be conducted. Now, we have gone through CAA and the merits and demerits, and we also seen what the NPR. And this massive monster these people have been creating, saying that CAA is fine, but if it's joined with NPR, it could become, a potent weapon to, persecute people within the country. That's the, fear-mongering they have done. So, same thing the Chief Minister said, please give out points. Tell us what is, why you scared. Give us points which needs to be plugged in the NPR, which Mr. Stalin did not even say anything. He could not. He says, so Edappadi said, you have been saying this, you have been fear-mongering, you have been going to Chennai Shine Bagh, which is Rashmanpet, and creating this panic among the minority community. But when I ask you openly in the assembly, you're not able to give me points. Why you want NPR banned? You're not able to do that. So this is a monster which the opposition was creating, and today it has gone out of control. Just like the corona from Wuhan, how it went, it's a biological weapon, right? Which, they say, as per theory, Chinese developed, and if it's gone out of control, their control. Similarly, the Shine Bags and Chennai Washerman-Pet were created by opposition party, which is going out of control. They're not listening to them. You won't believe Mr. Stalin made a request to all these parties, these minority parties, asking them, please do not protest. Give up your protest in Twitter. In spite of that, they have gone ahead and done this.
So, Mr. Muralidharan, all what you're saying simply proves that this protest is actually spontaneous, perhaps, and not manufactured by Stalin or any other opposition leader. I don't want to get into the merits of the CAA and NPR right now. My question to you was, shouldn't the Chief Minister and his government and the police, one, reached out to the protesters, tried to convince them to not do this, and if they did come out, stop them from this protest? You're putting lives at risk. Where was the government today? The AIADMK spokesperson won't speak to us. DMK also will not speak to us because parties don't want to openly take a stand on this issue.
The open stand is very simple, Tanvi. If the government would have tried to stop this today, it would have become another Delhi kind of situation. This is exactly what they want to happen in India, so that India can be shamed outside, because they're not able to win elections here. You look at the Congress, they're not able to win elections in Delhi. It's the same with Mr. Stalin. Last 10 years he's sitting out. He's not able to win elections. They want to create something here, just like Sterlite. How did Sterlite end? With some bloodbath, right? Similarly, they want to do it here. This is the reason why the government is not, see, there are thousands of people. One guy throwing a stone is enough to, create another Delhi here. We don't want that to happen. The government is like soft pedaling on this issue because it is being, we don't know what kind of elements there are. It's not peaceful people anymore. Peaceful people would have been sensible to the issue, saying that my fellow man, my fellow countryman is going to get affected. I will stop. This is
Okay.
we have incidents like Maharashtra, Calcutta, where people are jumped out of quarantine.
So don't, at this point, Mr. Muralidharan, I will say they're all peaceful. You don't need to fearmonger there. But yes, they need to be more responsible. I will ask Al-Amin to respond to what you're saying, though.
Yeah, thanks. So here, there are two things which he's talking about the NPR and NRC. I don't want to get into that political
Yes,
point
let's
of
not,
that.
yes.
Yeah, the one thing which I wanted to tell very
So why are
clearly,
you
so he does
protesting,
not
my
have
friend?
yeah, so one thing is, the thing, yeah, let me, okay. So here we are talking about the coronavirus, let's talk about it. Okay, so the Shaheen Bagh protest which was happening in Washerman Pet has been already closed. So that's for an information, considering this particular pandemic thing. And the protest which was conducted today, which was actually a whole day protest, supposed to be a whole day protest, it's a jail chalo kind of a protest. But considering the situation, we wanted to make it as a symbolic one, and we have completed this within 1.5 hours or 2 hours of time. It's a symbolic thing which we have conducted and we have concluded. And we have also conveyed our message to the state government and to the police that in case if there is a elevation of the stage, right, in the corona related stuff, we will definitely support. We have supported in the past. You can always check the facts. You can read about us, DNTJ, which used to be supporting the state government during the pandemic and endemic situations. We were the topmost organization
Mr.
in Tamil
Amin,
Nadu
support
who is
how?
giving.
Mr. Amin, what do you mean we will always support?
Who are you?
No, let me
My
complete.
friend, who are you?
How will
you
you
are risking
support?
thousands of people and say you're supporting the government. Who the hell are you? You're not even a political party. What are you trying to say?
That is up. No, you don't need to decide. I will just give this message to the public. Let them decide. Okay. Tamil
What
Nadu
public?
Tawheed
Which
Jamaat
public?
is responsible, and we have supported the government when there is a blood requirement. 13 hours. In last 13 years, we were the top in the blood donation one, and we have given Nilavembu Kasayam Siddha medicine for the swine flu and the flu, which have killed many people.
Okay,
we have given
no yelling
crores
over
and
each
crores
other.
of that. We have
Mr.
supported
Muralidharan,
the.
calm
We have
down.
supported during the flood situation.
Mr. Muralidharan, calm down. No yelling over
You
each
can
other.
check the fact.
Firstly, I have checked one of the facts. Mr.
Whoever
Al-Amin.
is shouting here.
Yes, listen to me. Al-Amin, listen to me. I have just double-checked
please
with
go
my
ahead.
team, who have double-checked with your team, and your own TNTJ members are telling my reporter as we speak that you did not have permission for an anti-CAA protest. Firstly, let me put that on the table. You went ahead and held this protest. It doesn't matter whether it was for 1 hour or 6 hours. You did not have the police permission for an anti-CAA protest. Your own colleagues are confirming that to our reporter as we speak. Secondly, if you say you will do your bit and support the government, then that begins by not holding mass gatherings. No blood donation is going to help you, Mr. Al-Amin. There is no vaccine available for this. The only way to fight this virus is to not spread it and to hope that your body fights it back, because there is no other vaccine available. So all that you and I can do is to say we will not encourage mass gatherings and spread the infection and expose elderly and youngsters and those with medical health condition to this coronavirus. That's all we have to do. And today what you did, you put the interest of a few protesters above the lives of many others. That's the point you need to understand. Deshrathan Nigam hasn't spoken so far. I want to go across to him and bring him in on this conversation as well. Mr. Nigam, we are now being given this, argument.
I have an answer. Maybe once you have time.
Yes. What is it that the government could have done? Had the government stopped them, it could have become a very, very volatile situation. Don't you think that perhaps now, in a pandemic scenario, it is time to deal with protesters who disregard advisories with an iron fist?
See, let us be very clear, Tanvi, that so far as coronavirus infection is concerned, we are in a very critical phase of community transmission, and that is where all monitoring is going on. And you never know, the damage has already been inflicted in Chennai, because they have not maintained that
Yes,
social
very
distancing
much.
that everybody has been, advising. Common sense, and after hearing everybody, it appears that all logic has been defied, and common sense is not so common with the protesters. They are not bothered about their life. They are moving, living time bombs, which can explode any time. And we don't know what kind of damage has been done or not done. The minimum they could have done is to call off their protest. And now let me also tell you, yes, it can be, an iron fist is required. We have a law, which is section 269 in Indian Penal Code, which talks of if anybody unlawfully or intentionally, deliberately or negligently, spreads such kind of diseases, then they are to be imprisoned by 6 months. I think that law is insufficient. Government today needs to come out with a law to bring out a very stringent personality. If by somebody's deliberate act a death takes place, then I believe life imprisonment or death penalty should be a minimum kind of prescription, because this is a very serious issue which people do not understand. And especially the leaders which you have on your panel, is they are saying that they did it for a short time. It just takes a microsecond
Correct.
to spread this virus. They have not maintained that social distancing. They have endangered the life of entire humanity, not only in India, but the entire world. They are not realizing what they have done. And I'm rather surprised by the defense of this protest taking place. And if you see, this is unlawfully done. They did not have permission. Delhi Shaheen Bagh also do not have the permission. They have blocked the road. They do not wish to obey the law of the land.
That's a
All
problem.
answers they are waiting for have to come from Supreme Court, not from anybody. And therefore, I think what they have done is something inhuman, and they have to answer to their own religion or whichever religion they belong to, and to the God. So this is something very serious, and let me tell you, I'm exasperated. I don't have words for the kind of logic that has been used.
Yes.
And these people need to be booked.
Okay.
Organizers,
Aniraja wants to
whatever
make
the
a point.
existing law,
Yes.
these leaders have to be booked.
Yes, yes. I agree with you. They have to be. There has to be a stricter action that's taken. Those who are sitting and defending this here cannot get away with it. Hundreds of those people misled onto the streets. How will you justify this? I believe your organization leader has to be arrested. Only
Yes.
then a signal will go to all those protesters who do not understand that we are in a situation of a pandemic. It is far more important than anything else right now.
Yeah, so let the law take its decision. We are ready to support that, okay? But as I told you, you told me that we have not taken a permission, yeah? So the permission has been taken. Initially, we were supposed to do the protest in a different place, and the place has been changed, and we have been given this place to protest, yeah?
Yeah.
So first, the fact, I would like to correct it. So the permission, we have got it, one.
So
and
are you
second
telling me
thing
that
is, I wanted
Abdul
to say here
Rahman
is the logic what you are applying in
organization
Kerala
is lying? Abdul Rahman of your organization, he is the media person for the party, has just told my reporter that no permission was taken for any anti-CAA protest from the cops. And by the way, when you change location,
No,
you
maybe
do
we
need to
can,
take
we can
permission.
get the facts corrected. That has been taken. Permission has been taken. If there is a need, the government or the police would have stopped us. Yeah. So you need to understand that, right? And the central government is giving a clear instructions to the state government to take a decision based on the time, right? Based on the situation, they need to take a decision. Based on the fact, they need to take a decision. So if you have seen, on a March 5th, there was some office of memorandum sent by, there is a memorandum sent by the central government to the all state governments. In that it is clearly saying the mass gathering, they are saying that the decision can be taken by the state government based on the situation. So now in Tamil Nadu, all the already booked marriages are happening. So you are saying now all the marriages should be stopped?
Come on, please.
Come on.
Yes.
No, what I'm saying. So are you saying that all the marriages should be stopped?
Yes. Do you
Are
understand
you saying
how,
all the
how a
marriages is
pandemic
already booked should be
works?
stopped now?
Do you understand how a pandemic works?
are-
Anybody wants to
are-
get
are you
married,
going to convey this
by
message to
all
the
means
public
can
that-
go and get married. Please don't call 1,000 people to celebrate that wedding.
So So
Nobody is stopping anybody from getting married.
we have given a clear instruction to our. Why the marriages have not been stopped? Tell me. And second thing I wanted to tell you, we have given a clear instruction to our soldiers, or sorry, our volunteers, and to all our office bearers, and convey the message to the public that whoever is having this kind of okay, let me complete it. Please don't get
my friend, you're trying to justify.
What we have said to them is whoever is having cold or whoever is having fever.
What have you done? What have you done? You have done something criminal, my friend, and you are sitting in national television trying to justify it. You know, after seeing the Delhi riot and people dying.
Let the law decide. Let the law decide. Let you don't you.
If one radical element would have
don't decide. Let the law decide.
What let the law decide?
Please don't decide. Let law decide. One thing I wanted to say here very clearly. One thing.
Be responsible yourself.
Let me complete it. Let the people decide whether who is
Mr.
having the common
Al-Amin,
sense.
be responsible yourself. The people
So
are not able.
I'm telling you,
the people are not able to decide on this because they do not have all the information, the facts. They don't understand. People are running away from hospitals. You think we should let those people decide what is good for our country right now? Those who are running away from quarantine measures and quarantine facilities and camps, those who refuse to get tested, no, Al-Amin, you as a party leader need to now take responsibility for the thousands of lives that have been put at risk. Annie Raja, this is disappointing. If the government has allowed this to happen and given permission for a protest, at whatever location, how is that justified? Shouldn't the government be a little bit more proactive?
No.
You see,
we have given a clear instruction to people that whoever is having a feverish or cold, they don't need to participate. The instruction has been given clearly.
Can I speak?
Yes, Annie Raja, please. Yes.
Interruption. So, yeah, what I think is that, okay, we are appreciating the efforts taken by the government and we all need to cooperate with the government. And even the protesters are saying that they will cooperate, and they are in Delhi. I know, I don't know exactly what is happening in Chennai because I am not there. Here also people are saying that we will keep all the social distancing and every precaution we will take. But my question is here, if these women don't say that they don't know anything and they have come with because somebody has insisted them to come on the street and have the dharna and all, they know everything. My only point is that if these women, these people are thinking that it is better to be taken by the go to the jail by the government, as somebody is suggesting, or than a life in the detention center, then I think it is the time the government needs to come in and convince the people that for what they are struggling for all these months, their apprehensions will be alleviated, and there is our citizenship will not be on the basis of religion. That assurance should be given by the government.
No.
The life here is better than the life in detention center and the
there will be no life, Annie Raja, if people begin to get infected with this pandemic.
If the government is really,
if coronavirus is killing people in the country, Annie Raja, there will be no life.
I am saying that government should be responsible. If the government is responsible, that government needs to reach out to these people.
Okay, I'm out of time, so I'm going to thank my panelists. But I will urge Al-Amin and Abdul Rahman from his party to go back and think about this. I believe anybody, whether it's the TNTJ protest that happened in Chennai or even the Shaheen Bagh protest which is happening in Delhi right now, they need to realize right now they're causing a hurdle. They are weakening our war against coronavirus and risking lives in our country. Their protests, political or otherwise, or an individual or a social cause, is fine. But right now, everybody needs to keep their primary issue aside and come together to fight this battle against coronavirus. If the protesters think that they can arm twist the government at such a time and convince them or force them to agree to their demands, that's not right. You cannot be risking lives of hundreds of people in such a manner. Coronavirus has turned deadly. 8,000 lives across the world have been lost to this infection. Let's please get a little bit more serious about it. Thank you for joining us on this conversation. Several noted personalities have taken to social media to post videos of themselves washing hands, urging fans to wash their hands, stay clean and stay safe from coronavirus.
सिर्फ पानी से ही हाथ धोने हैं, साबुन जरूर इस्तेमाल करना है और जब आप हाथ मल रहे हो साबुन से, ये आपकी सुरक्षा के लिए है। 20 सेकंड जरूर मलिएगा। ऊपर से भी ऐसे क्लीन करना जरूरी है और हाथ बदलते रहिए जरूर। मुझे लगता है 20 सेकंड खत्म हुए होंगे। हाथ अच्छी तरह से साफ कीजिए।
And as promised, now we'll put the spotlight on economy and the impact of coronavirus on the Indian economy and the world economy. We've spoken about how our lives will change as social distancing becomes the norm, at least for many, many months in this war against coronavirus. We also spoke about how mass gatherings are an absolute no-no. Now let's talk about economy, because even once we've defeated coronavirus, even when we've contained it and beaten the infection, we will still have to deal with the repercussions, economically speaking. The repercussions of the decisions and the steps that we're taking today to tackle coronavirus, which is the shutdown, which is the fact that travel has stopped, so the hospitality industry has been hit, the aviation industry has been hit, the travel industry has been hit. Already globally, there are many who are talking about laying off people because they don't have enough business. Then comes the manufacturing, then comes the trade, and all of that gets impacted as countries go into a lockdown. The manufacturing facilities in China shut for many, many weeks. That's impacted business all across the world. India has been no different. Every top economist and top economic institution, ratings agency, has said that this year, perhaps we are headed for a global recession. The economies across the globe are going to go down. India is not going to be any different. In fact, in many ways, it could get worse for us. Because in the past 1 year, in 2019, we went from a growth rate of 8% to 4.5%. We were already in a lot of pain. Just when we were hoping that 2020 could be different, could be better, and we could turn around and begin to see a lot more growth, coronavirus has hit us. Let's try and understand what could 2020 entail for us. Will coronavirus induce a recession even in our economy? Joining me right now is the Principal Economic Advisor to the central government, Sanjeev Sanyal. Thank you so much for speaking to us. How should we brace ourselves for the impact of what India and the world economy is seeing right now and will see this year?
Now, clearly there will be an impact of many of these quite unprecedented shocks on global financial flows, trade flows, and of course on demand. Now, how exactly that will play out is quite difficult because obviously this is an evolving situation. But let me say that we have been acting very proactively, whether it's on the health front, in terms of securing our supply chains, and now we have obviously to look at what happens to our the financial and cash flow situation of the economy. And all three things, we are looking at it very closely. And as you may have noticed, we keep responding to them as the situation evolves.
So let's break it down, Mr. Sanyal, into various aspects. Of course, the first important aspect and issue is health. Now, across the world, we are looking at, various countries announce stimulus packages and special funding to deal with the situation. It perhaps is a bigger challenge for our country. We have 1.25 billion people, a high population density, and frankly, not a healthcare system that we should be very proud of. How is the government dealing with this healthcare emergency?
So obviously, this is a difficult problem for all countries, whether they are emerging markets or developed countries. And of course, being a large, densely populated country, it is a particular challenge for us. Nevertheless, we did take this very seriously very early on. As you will remember, we began to pull out our students out of China and more recently out of other countries as well. We also began to introduce restrictions on a rolling basis as things emerged. So we have been quite proactive. More recently, even though we haven't yet seen the numbers spike, we have taken quite unprecedented steps in terms of closing down schools, putting restrictions on large gatherings and so on. So, we have done what we could. There are large quarantine facilities that have been built out, especially for this, and thousands are being taken through it as well. So we have taken unprecedented steps. Now, of course, how this will play out, we will see.
Okay, then let's talk about the other big aspect, which is the impact of what's happening globally on our business. International trade has been hit. Imports have been affected. What happens in China impacts the businesses in our own country. How do we tackle this supply challenge?
I think, there are many supply chain issues and global trade issues that will indeed have an impact, no doubt about it. Tourism is an industry that has already been impacted significantly. We again, by the middle of February, we began to look at these, went literally item by item, looking at what are those items that we import from China, for example, inputs into pharmaceutical industry or parts that go into cars and so on. We took item by item, how many weeks worth of supplies we had, arrangements were made, and you will remember the finance minister took a series of meetings on this to be able to tell which items can be produced in India, which can be sourced from third countries, and in those cases where we still have to get it from China, make special arrangements for that. Now, obviously, that too has evolved because other countries have now come within the ambit of this disruption. So, in that sense, we have had to recalibrate continuously. But I would say that we went into this phase as well prepared as we could have been. So, while there will be indeed disruptions in things like tourism, I think we did make as much arrangement given the circumstances.
So let's talk about, what can the government do now from here on? Tourism has been impacted, services sector, the hospitality sector. Soon we'll see a bigger impact even on manufacturing, on smaller businesses. They've had to right now, bring in curbs. Is the government considering some kind of bailout or stimulus? Would you advise the government that?
So there is no doubt that there are certain industries, in fact many industries, that will be impacted. And we have had to make difficult choices between the health and the economic implications of this pandemic. Now, hopefully this will not last for a very long time, but nonetheless, we do recognize that there has been disruptions of all kinds, including in the cash flow of the economy. On the financial side, you will see, volatility in the financial markets. So we do recognize that. And yes, the Reserve Bank governor has repeatedly been on television in interviews saying that he is watching this and has been, of course, Reserve Bank has been introducing liquidity measures continuously. I have said before as well, we do have space for acting in various ways, particularly on the monetary side. Unlike many countries which are already at zero interest rate, we have space on the monetary side, given that inflation is likely to come off very sharply in the next few readings. Our foreign exchange reserves worth of 480 billion, which means that our external accounts are very well defended. The current account, if anything, has gone into surplus with how low the oil prices are. So, again, we do have a lot of a large war chest to deal with this, particularly the kind of structure of this particular problem. Because remember, we are major importers of oil. We are also major importers of capital, both of which have become much cheaper because of this. And we will try to utilize some of this to buffer the shocks that we get. I mean, whether it's in terms of being able to, whether some of it will pass through to consumers, some of it we will take it into the government coffers to compensate for other losses and taxes. So it's something that we are watching carefully, responding as fast as we can. And let me assure viewers that we have many tools, fiscal or monetary, and we will not shy away from using them.
Well, I appreciate you showing us that silver lining as far as the crude oil prices are concerned. Thank you, Mr. Sanil, so much for speaking to the viewers of Mirror Now and really giving us an insight into how the government is dealing with this situation. That was the Principal Economic Advisor to the government. We're going to take a very short break. On the other side, I've got India's former Chief Economic Advisor, Dr. Arvind Virmani, joining me. So stay with us. Continuing with our focus on economy and trying to understand what the impact of coronavirus could be. Will it induce a recession globally? What about our own country? Could it get worse? Well, that's the biggest question that everybody has in their minds. What do we do? How do we prepare ourselves for what's coming next? Let's try and understand. Dr. Arvind Virmani joins me right now. Dr. Virmani, things have actually drastically changed since we last spoke, even though it was just, a few weeks ago. So I'm going to straight away get to the point here and ask you, should we brace for a tougher 2020 than what 2019 was?
That's a very stark question, but okay, I'll take few sentences to answer it. See, the problem is that we were already at the bottom of growth recession, somewhere around 5%. And I was, by the end of last year, before we got the pandemic, I was expecting and I was saying that we would have a U-shaped recovery. Now, the pandemic comes on top of it. Now, in that sense, all policies have to have to be multiplied in a sense to get back to a better situation. So, if we take the baseline as not enough being done, even to handle the pandemic or the wrong things being done, then we will be in a worse situation. But I think we know enough, we meaning there is enough experience and knowledge in the country to handle such crisis. The real issue is whether the concerned authorities will access and make use of this advice. If they do, the 2020 could be at least somewhat better than 2019. If they don't and do not utilize and do the things which are needed, then yes, we could be in a worse situation.
Well, across the world already, many countries, have announced bailout packages or stimulus packages to help the people sustain in these tough times. What do you think our government should do?
So, in a crisis of this sort, the first thing is to analyze where the hit is going to be, where the pain points is going to be. We already know that certain what I call contact services, but popularly everybody has talked about it: air travel, hospitality, entertainment, certain types of retail trade, etc., etc. So that is replicable in the sense that we already know what has happened in other countries, and therefore if perhaps a little more slowly than there, but is already beginning to happen in India. So one of the most important thing is to look at that from both the welfare aspect and the economic aspect. When I talk about economic aspects, I'm talking about that growth, GDP recovery, recession, that U curve, etc., which I mentioned earlier. But let me mention the welfare first. Clearly, if people, if airlines and other hotels, restaurants start going bankrupt or closing down and firing a lot of people, that is going to be a huge welfare problem for the people. So just to give you one example, I think it is important to start identifying the self-employed and perhaps even the contract employees who will be the first to suffer and I think it's possible. I think in state governments, bureaucracies, if they are given the order, is to make a listing or a register of such people, so that whenever the central government thinks it's necessary or advisable to inject money to them or give them some comfort or some direct cash transfers, it will be possible.
Yes, in fact, exactly. Like the UP government came out with an announcement saying that they're going to figure out how to give some money and funds to casual labor. But where do we get the list of people? The working population, and a large part of it never really got formalized in our country.
So I think obviously in a short time one cannot be perfect, but we have the Aadhaar database, and if you recall, the whole purpose for which I had recommended a UID was for normal welfare, but that same system can be utilized for making payments in a crisis. So I think it's important to go to these industries. We know who these are, the hotels, etc., or make an announcement that everybody in these 4 industries or connected with it, please come and register. When people are in really unexpected and dire circumstances, we can use that same communication system which we are using fairly effectively to spread information on the virus, etc., to say, okay, you bring your such and such information and come and register, so that we can help you when you need it if the crisis gets worse. So I think so. The point is, in a crisis you don't have to be perfect, you have to be effective. If you can reach 80-90% of the people, even though 10-15% may get things wrongly, it's really very important to be quick and effective, and I think it can be done.
Well, internationally, as businesses begin to get hit, from tourism to hospitality to travel, companies are already, indicating that they're going to start looking at layoffs. How do we deal with this situation? Should we be preparing ourselves for perhaps more job loss in the coming months?
So I've already tried to address the welfare or the employment part of it, but we also need to address the economic part of it. If a large number of companies in these 4-5 sectors that both you and I have mentioned start failing, that will impede the recovery once the pandemic is over. So the second part of this structure has to be both preserving the financial system, ensuring that there is no contagion from one company which fails to a whole set of other companies, and thirdly, giving some type of temporary relief to organizations and companies which are essentially viable. All these things in a crisis, you have to make decisions. No decision will be perfect, but you will have to decide. That is the role of the government and the central bank, to make these decisions in a crisis. And so that is what I was saying, that I was putting on the table, that you have to, unless both these organizations use the experience and knowledge which is available in the country, they are likely to make much more mistakes. But if you do it, they will also be criticized, because there's no perfect decision possible in a crisis. But the government, for example, if an industry had certain regulations like hotels or something, which will kind of add to their problems, you can suspend them for a year and things like that. So in each case, you have to carefully think of where the pressure points are and what the fiscal and monetary policy can do to relieve them in a targeted manner. That's the essence of dealing with the crisis, looking not just at general measures like overall liquidity, though that is very important, but if the crisis really gets deeper, then you also have to look at very targeted measures to kind of stop the crisis from getting worse.
In fact, from many industry representatives who've been on our shows in the last few weeks, they've already started demanding tax relief and other kind of stimulus announcements from the government. So I can understand what you're saying there, Dr. Virmani.
It's very important to hear them, but not accept everything they say. And that is what I mean by using the experience and knowledge that several of Indians have in making judgments about the crisis. You know, both we've dealt with, I was personally as CA dealt with the 2008 crisis, as well as the smaller things which hit us in earlier years, like the Asian crisis, the Latin crisis, etc. And there are many others, both from the who worked at the RBI at that time, who were in government, who have to be kind of drawn in to help make these decisions, because there are lots of judgments involved. You can't just take the list and say, okay, arbitrarily just we will do 1, 2, 3 just because that looks politically the best. It has to be effective, it has to be quick, and it obviously shouldn't be arbitrary in the sense of with no logic.
All right, Dr. Virmani, I take the point that you're making. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, you know, decoding all of this for us. Two top economic voices there, two top economists telling us what we should be expecting and how this is going to be a tough ride. But that's not just the economy part of it and not just the health part of it. There is more to it. So I'm going to wrap it up here on the Urban Debate and hand it over to Sanjana Chauhan, who joins us with the last word with a very, very important aspect. A fallout of coronavirus could also be, Sanjana, of how it impacts our mental health.
That's right, Tanvi, because with all of these grim figures being thrown at us, it's hard sometimes to have perspective. It's hard to stay positive. And, you know, it's very easy to, you know, come on TV every night and say, don't panic. It's easy to constantly read advisories that say, wash your hands, isolate yourself, but also don't panic. But starting tonight, every night at 10 p.m, viewers, we're going to focus on a very important and perhaps a tad forgotten impact or fallout of coronavirus, which is the emotional impact. The mental well-being of people who are faced with this alien concept in India of social distancing and how we can get over the feeling of isolation. That's going to be our focus tonight, Tanvi, on The Last Word.